watching the Model Railway Files, and welcome to part 9 of the Station Project series. Now, in this episode, we'll be focusing on something different, because we're not actually focusing on the building itself. And that is simply because, instead of that, we are focusing on the platform, like this one here, that I have made earlier. Now, we're getting rid of the old Hornby plastic platforms because they're not actually very good or realistic. And so instead, I've purchased a Metcalfe kit, which I've actually edited, as you might already have noticed below. In this video, I'll be showing you what I've done with this one and what I will be doing with the next one, because this is only one side of the platform. As on the other side of the tracks, I'm going to make a bay platform that this building will actually be sitting on at some point. So I'll just get everything ready and we can see that. Firstly, I'd like to start off by apologising for the delay in this video. That's simply because recently I've been very busy with other things, and this platform itself, which is the smaller of the two, has actually taken quite a long time to build, as it's quite a complex kit when you're editing a kit, and it had to be perfect for me. Now, you'll have noticed at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see the new train that I've recently purchased, which is a Bachmann Class 101 in BR green with yellow warning panels. If you haven't seen the review for that I made in January, you might want to check it out. But anyway, enough of that. The platform itself. This is the Metcalfe stone platform kit, which is this one here, which costs probably between £9 and £11, depending on where you get it from. There's a station that we're going to put on it at some point, and you can see basically on the underneath of what they look like. The underneath of this one is exactly the same as that. I've followed the instructions basically, but just made a few small alterations that have made it look very good. But anyway, let's have a look at it itself. Now, what I've done is I have made the kit as you would be supposed to make it by following instructions, but then what I've also done is put a layer of Slater's plasticard on the top of the front of the wall, because it would have looked like this, which isn't really very realistic compared to what I've done. That's just basically, I've just put a layer on top really, and then I've painted it. It required 3 layers of different paint, and it has actually turned out quite well, and I'm quite pleased with it. You'll also notice that I have painted the edges of the platform, because otherwise they'd look, well, the colour, this colour here really, which wouldn't look very realistic or good. Now, for the moment, the top of the platform itself, I haven't put anything on top, but I think I will in the future to make it look more realistic. Same with the capping strips at the end. I might put like more realistic slabs on the end. Now, you'll notice there's a gap here in the walls at the back, and that'll lead out onto some steps that'll go down. I've already made that, well, nearly made it, just needs some finishing off, but it's turned out quite well. Now, at the back of the platform, the trouble with these Metcalfe kits is usually when you make these platforms, there's gaps between the 2 separate pieces of card on the back, because there's usually a piece here and a lower piece here, which forms the top and the bottom part of the platform, because on here it's 2 separate pieces at the front, as you can see there. And so what I did was I made the original pieces by card, then I cut out these 2 massive strips here and put them and glued them on top, which in my mind gave it a really good appearance. It's the same with these back bits here and on the side there. Now, for the underneath, what I've basically done is exactly the same as you would on the kit, really. So that doesn't really need much looking into, because that'll all be explained in the instructions to give you. And as for the size of the platform, I've just made it equal length at either sides, and in the middle at the moment I've made it a space for this, because I'm not really sure what building I'm going to put on it unless I just improve this one by encasing it in plasticard. Plasticard rather. But I might get a building that will hopefully fit perfectly in there. For other buildings though, I've got these Hornby ones, Hornby Scaledale ones, Northeastern, which are quite good and they're perfect size really. And I've got a telephone box and a post box that go there and there. And then the building itself goes there. At the back of this station I'm planning to have a car park in this area, just not a very big one because there'll be a road running around the back, but in this area there'll be a small car park of about 6 or 8 spaces, and there'll probably be a little shed of some sort as well for storage. But yes, that is platform 1, which is the smaller of the 2 platforms. And that one was actually the easiest to make, because the other one is more complicated. And that is simply because, for a start, the station building itself is actually quite large, so it needs a big area of platform for it to sit on. And also for this side of the station, I wanted a bay platform, which means that I have 2 platforms on that side instead of just the one. Now, as you can see here, I've already cut out some of the pieces already for this side of the platform, and this bit here is, as I just mentioned, that's the bit for the station building itself, which, as you can see, just fits on there perfectly. So get that out of the way. The front of it will be this, well, the track side bit of it will be this bit, which is why that bit's painted black, because that's the edge that has a little ridge on it that you'll just be able to see there. So that's painted black to disguise it a bit, really. And I've also got some other pieces that I've cut out for the rest of it. Now this platform is a bit more uneven than the other one, and that's just because I needed quite a bit of platform for the bay part of the station. So that will go there. There rather. And then there's this little piece that'll go here. So one side of the platform is actually really small. It'll go attached to the big station piece like that, and it'll fall down like that. Create a tiny bit of platform at that edge. It's just to extend it so I can put a whole train on there, really. And the bay platform itself, as it is on, it'll be on both sides. There'll be track on both sides. There's black bits on both sides for the edges of the platform. This will make it easier actually, because I've got less pieces to cut out to make a wall. That is a bay platform. And that'll join onto there and form a nice long platform. Now, for this platform, I've managed to make it long enough to have the capacity of about 3 carriages in length, which is a decent amount, I think. It's more than enough for my DMU that I've recently purchased, and so it's perfect, really. But so that's the other side of the platform that will be coming soon. Now, for the walls themselves, I've already made a start on these for the other side. Here are some of the pieces that I've had to make, and as you can see, it's just layered on top plasticard. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, it's just placed Slater's plasticard, which comes in sheets of A4, so it's quite handy for these long pieces. Yeah, there's two pieces. These bits are for the bay platform, hence why they're the same length. And this piece is a bit that's not completely finished because I haven't put the mortar in for the bricks. And that's for the other end of the platform that'll face the track. And the paint, I used 3 different types of paints for this. I'll just have to go and find them so I can show you them. Now, the brand of paint I've been using for this part of the project is actually a different brand than I'd usually use, because I usually use the Tamiya paints because their colours are quite realistic to what the colours would have been in that time. But for this part of the station, for the platform walls, because there's a lot of them, I've got the Humbrol enamel paints, these 3 here, which are relatively cheap and quite good paints actually. I've got the primer here, which is number 1. I've got a dark grey, I think, which is number 32, and we've got basically a pale stone here, which is number 121. These 2 are matte, and I believe this one is. Oh no, that one's matte as well. So they're all matte paint. So make sure you do that, otherwise the walls will look very unrealistic if you get gloss paint. Now, as you can see, these 2 of these are in the same stage of painting, and the other is in a different one. This wall has so far had the primer and the dark grey paint on, as you can see here, because the pale stone is the mortar of these stones, which is on those 2, and they actually bring out the colour of the grey and make it a lot lighter. So what I do is I put some of this primer on, paint some of that on. I don't do a very thick layer of that, otherwise it'll fill all the mortar gaps in, which, as that paint is quite thick, is not very good because it make it look very unrealistic. And then after that's dried, which actually with these paints does take quite a while, which it takes around 2 hours actually. And after I've done that, I paint on a layer of this matte dark grey. Only a thin layer though, because it's already been painted. And once, so you don't want it to look overloaded. And once that's dried, which is another 2 hours, you do have to wait quite a lot when you're doing this, hence why this video has taken so long to be produced. After that, you paint on a very, very thin layer of this pale stone colour, number 121. Then after that's dried for a tiny bit, you then get a piece of cloth or a sponge or something, and then wipe off the excess paint, which then reveals this detail here. It goes all into all the mortar gaps, which makes it look really realistic. And when you put it on the station, it looks really good actually. Very realistic compared to what it would be if you just use the Metcalfe strips here. What this plasticard looked like originally was this. So to go from this to this is actually quite an achievement. So for doing stations like this, if you want a darker colour for your walls, I recommend using these 3 paints in that order, because they are very, very good at producing a very, very realistic platform edge in a reasonable amount of time. And once you're done, you'll be very proud of your efforts, like I am with these. You'll notice on this there's a few gaps here. I will at some point use polyfiller or something to fill those, and so that they're disguised. But apart from those little downfalls, I believe that this part of the project has been quite successful in creating a relatively realistic station that is a lot better, and I mean a lot better than it would have been with just the Hornby ones. Now, as I say, I may reproduce this in plasticard, this building here, to make it look a lot better. But for now, I think that side of the station is looking alright. And I've already tried it on the layout just to check that it measured out alright, and it appears to look very good. You can see there's the DMU in the background again. I may actually replace that telephone box at some point, because I've noticed on a website called Layouts for You that you can get one that actually lights up, which I think would look very good on my layout. So I may get one of those in the future. So anyway, that's the basic knowledge of the platforms that I needed to tell you said. So this brings us to the end of this video now. So thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos. There will hopefully be another video coming soon. It probably won't be as much of a wait as this one was from the last video in January. But yes, thanks for watching. Please do feel free to watch our other videos. And please like and subscribe. Goodbye.